Some of the best things in life cost just $20. Applebee's, 2 for $20, and Mega Charizard X.
It's good to see you, old friend. I'm very happy that you're back. And it's crazy to think that, like, Pokemon Legends Z through A just announced that Megas are coming back within the game, including Mega Charizard X and Y. So, very cool. The packaging is pretty straightforward and traditional with the rest of our Trainer Team series. We do have all 4 figures right here on the back. Suicune is a re-release. Will it actually hit stores? I don't know. I mean, the only one that has actually hit stores was Rayquaza and our normal Charizard. And you know, Deoxys was nowhere to be found, which was a surprise to me because I thought that was going to be the first figure that we would see within Series 9, especially since it was like on display at San Diego Comic-Con. But I don't know, it's got to be coming on the way. I mean, it has to be. I'll post updates once it actually does start popping up in stores though. Per usual, here is the barcode and the target DPCI to help you on your hunt. I feel like this line just keeps getting better and better. This figure is so wild and still only $20. That's the part that always blows my mind, is that they're still able to make these figures just $20, you know, and doing things that we have not seen done before in figure scale for Pokemon. Now, I feel like this figure is gonna go fast for a few reasons. A, it's Charizard. B, it's Mega Charizard X. C, Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out soon, and once people realize that you can get Megas and Mega Charizards in that actual game, then this figure is going to fly off the shelves even more. I love the flames coming from the mouth. They have such a realistic look, you know, the way they're sculpted, that they're just like flowing and, you know, and just kind of violent and sporadic. Now, the flames can't be removed. They are basically glued in there, which is fine. I wouldn't take them out anyway. So the mouth does have some articulation, opening and closing. Nothing too crazy, just because I think the flames are getting in the way. And as far as the paint applications go, everything looks nice and clean. I do like that like gradient look to the horns right there. Those are awesome looking. I do have maybe like a little bit of a glue blemish right there, which is fine. I can clean that up here later. But other than that, everything looks nice and clean. Now, this head and neck articulation seems to be pretty similar to our very first Charizard, so I can get it in a straightforward flying position, which is crucial. And then if I just use the head right here, I can get it looking down about that far. I guess a straightforward motion. But if I activate the neck, then I can get an even greater range of motion. And just your typical swivels and hinge joints right here. I could rotate the base of the neck from side to side. Can't go all the way around, which is fine. And then at the head, same type of deal going on. Now, I would advise you to not articulate from the flames because they are glued in there. They're probably going to break off, so don't do that. Articulate from the horns themselves. And you know, here's just a better look of how those flames are seated at the roof of the mouth. Lots of joints going on here at the shoulders all the way down to the claws. So we have a basic swivel joint forwards and backwards right here with like the little points are, and then I could take this arm and bring it upwards a considerable amount. I mean, it depends on how you kind of maneuver it, but you could basically get Charizard to bend the arm completely and scratch its neck. And you can go one step further because we have those double joints here. You can basically fold that arm completely on itself, which is so wild. And something that this first Charizard did not get is going to be articulation at the fingertips here, which we've seen this implemented on a lot of different figures, so it's cool that they actually updated Charizard and gave it the articulation that it deserves here. Man, these leg joints are very impressive. I love how much range of motion it gets. So you have your basic joints, so I can get Charizard in a running Naruto position if I wanted to. Super cool. And what's even better is, like, you can't even tell that there's joints here. Like, they removed the peg holes. I mean, for example, here's the Series 1 Charizard, and you can see the pins and the peg holes sticking out. I mean, granted, this was the very first figure that they dropped within Series 1, but it's crazy to see the improvements. So I could take this, like, knee joint and bring it forwards and backwards. Like, even more range of motion than the very first Charizard. Look how crazy that is. You could basically fold the leg completely on itself. And then you have the ankle articulation here as well. And I should be able to kind of like rotate this foot, kind of like a rocker joint right here, so I can still get some good movement out of that. And you can see that the bottom of the feet are painted as well as like the little claws. I've always loved the look to Mega Charizard's wings, just very intimidating and just aggressive looking. But your traditional joints here, hinges at the base of the body as well as the middle of the wings, so you can get it into some great poses. And this is pretty traditional with the rest of the Trainer Team series. Now, I will say it does have a greater wingspan compared to our normal Charizard, which I think is to be expected because this is a Mega form, and obviously Mega should be bigger. And because we have some hinges there, we can get the wings into some crazy, unrealistic poses. Maybe that's like a broken wing, but you know, you get the idea. You can bend it all different directions and really get Charizard in some cool flying positions. Now, the last major area of this figure is going to be the tail. Now, they completely changed it from the segments within our first Charizard to a bendable wire, which we've seen with a lot of different Pokemon within this line. Now, I do appreciate the look of this compared to the segmented area. It just looks cleaner and more natural, and it's not broken up too much, but I would argue that this has possibly less articulation than the jointed one, which, you know, if you're a fan of these figures, you could go either way with this. You could prefer the segmented, or you could prefer the wire. I like the way it looks with this. I could still get some realistic dynamic poses. I could basically fold the tail on itself. It just takes a little bit more maneuvering around to get this in a position that you really like, but nonetheless, you could still make this figure look realistic in a lot of different poses. The tail flame itself has no articulation. It's basically glued in there, so you're at the mercy of posing this entire tail to make it look realistic. So you want to be careful when posing this. I wouldn't grab onto this flame too much. I would consider this a more weaker area and could have a tendency to pop off. And despite not being a joint there, it still works really well, and Charizard looks realistic in a flying position. Now, the last area I want to talk about the tail is going to be just like the paint right here. It is a little bit more sensitive to paint rubbing or paint smearing. So if you look at the underside of this wing right here, some of that paint's been kind of rubbing off on like this rubber part of the tail. So that just might be the tendency of the material that they use, but it is something that I noticed. So when you do pose this tail upwards, just kind of be careful on how much you force up there, because you are likely to start rubbing some paint there. Well, this is definitely one of the best figures that Jazwares has put out for the Pokemon Trainer Team series. I can also see us talking about this for years to come. Let's just say in the next 20 years, when this line is said and done, I think we'll always refer to this Mega Charizard X, because this is the first time we have ever seen a Mega Charizard X to this degree. Highly articulated, phenomenal sculpt, a bendable wire as a tail, all while keeping this at $20, which is the most insane part, because we're getting all of this and then some for just that price point. I can see this easily being a $30 figure. Now, if this was priced at like 50, 60, 70, then I feel like there is more to critique about this. What I love the most about this is that they didn't just take the Charizard body and sculpt from the very first series and then just slap it onto this. No, they actually gave us a brand new sculpt. They updated the joints. They tried to hide the pins. They gave us a bendable wire as a tail, and even added better range of motion at the head, the neck, and even articulation at the claws. Which to me, as a collector of many things, that speaks volumes that a company is A, listening to what people have to say, B, taking a lot of pride in the product itself, and C, always trying to improve what they put out. And it shows tremendously with this figure alone. And for all those reasons, it makes it a must-have. It's already being talked about in a high regard, flying off the shelves as we speak. I can see this being similar to Flygon, where you might see it once in store and then like never again, especially when Pokemon Legends ZA comes out. Then I feel like that's just going to compound on top of that. It's also pretty much in scale. It rings in at like 5'7", so all the scale gurus out there, they're going to really love this even more. But that's it. That's all I got for you with this video. I really hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review of the new Mega Charizard X from the Jazwares Trainer Team series. Hitting Target stores right now. It is also online on the Target app. I'll post all the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this unboxing and review, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. It lets me know that I'm doing a good job. And make sure you connect with me on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date when new things drop, like the rest of our Trainer Team series, and hopefully Deoxys coming soon. I also post toy photography and toy videos, things you won't see here on YouTube. Until then, trainers, I'll see y'all in the next video.